welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for being here. As you may have seen in my last Dollar Tree haul, I found so many beautiful things for crafting for fall. And fall is really just around the corner, so it is time to get started on those fall DIYs. In today's video, I am going to be showing you how to make some different centerpieces for fall. These are centerpieces that if you were to go to the store and buy, they would cost you a lot of money. And I made each of them for less than $15 each, and I think they all turned out beautiful. So let's jump in and get started.
For this project, I will be using two of the wire pumpkin wreath frames from Dollar Tree. I'll also be using one of these wood planks from the Crafter's Square section at Dollar Tree, as well as some floral foam. And I'll be using several of these black zip ties that I picked up at Dollar Tree as well. For the candle holder in the middle of my centerpiece, I chose this vase from Dollar Tree. I thought the colors would go really pretty with my florals that I will be using, but you could use a clear vase or any candle holder of your choosing. I'm also going to be using some of this amaranthus from Dollar Tree and a little bit of jute twine. And in my last trip to Dollar Tree, I picked up these fun pumpkins that I will be using in this centerpiece as well. For my lighting in this, I will be trying out this little LED candle. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby for just a few dollars. Or I'm also going to try these little fairy lights, the battery powered fairy lights from Dollar Tree, and see which one I like best. To start off with, I'm going to take my two wire wreath forms and place them back to back and then zip tie them together. I do want to give a shout out to Catherine from Do It on a Dime, who I got the idea of putting these two frames together like this from. So thank you, Catherine. She put little pumpkins in hers and it was really cute. I'm going to be making a centerpiece with mine. So I'm just taking a little bit of antique wax by Waverly and giving my little wood plank a good coat of this on both sides and around the edges. Then I'll wipe off the excess and just let that dry really well. And even though this really isn't going to show very much in our finished project, I just wanted it to have a nice finished look. So now I'm going to use my hot glue gun and some Gorilla Glue sticks, and I am gluing my pumpkin frame to the wood plank just to give it a base so that it will stand upright on its own. Now I'm going to take my little foam block and I am going to cut it down because it's just a little bit too tall. And so I have found that these little metal rulers from Dollar Tree work really well for this, and you can just slice it right through the floral foam, and I think it works great. And now I'm going to glue that floral foam right on top of the bottom of the wire pumpkin frame where it is glued to that wood plank. And I did push it down so that the wires were kind of going into the foam. Next, I'm going to take my jute twine and wrap it around the neck of my vase a couple of times, just tie a knot in that just to add a little bit of an accent to it. And this is going to tie it together with those pumpkins that I'll be using as well. And I did decide to cover my floral foam with a little bit of Spanish moss. This is probably optional because the florals are going to disguise the floral foam for the most part, but I just didn't want any of that floral foam showing through it all, so I covered the block with the Spanish moss. So my little vase is going to sit in the middle of that floral foam, and then I am going to just take some of my leaf florals that I got at Dollar Tree, and I love these colors they have this year, and I cut them apart and I just start arranging them, moving them around until I really like the way that it looks. I did decide to add a little hot glue to the bottom of my vase just to help hold it in place, and that made it a little bit easier to work with here as well. These braided raffia pumpkins are on a dowel, like a little wooden dowel. So I used some wire cutters to trim that down a little bit. And then I stuck 3 of those into my arrangement. And to tie in with my vase, I am going to use some of these burgundy amaranthus from Dollar Tree. And since I felt like they were a little bit long, I actually cut them in half and just stuck them randomly in the arrangement. And I felt like this really tied that top color of the vase into the whole floral arrangement. Now that I'm satisfied with my florals, I'm going to add my light. This is the little LED light that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I love these. They look so realistic, but I do want to see what the little fairy lights look like as well. And I did end up adding a couple of little leaves, just kind of laying them over that battery pack to disguise them. But let me know in the comments below, which one did you like the best, the little LED candle or the fairy lights? I think I am leaning to the little flickering LED light. It just looks so natural, and I just really am pleased with how this turned out. It's going to look beautiful on my table for fall. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you enjoy Dollar Tree DIYs and DIYs on a budget, then be sure to subscribe because I do a lot of those here on this channel. For this next centerpiece, I will be using 2 of these unfinished wood trays from Dollar Tree. You could also use some of their little square wall art pieces. And I will be using one of these pedestal candle holders and one of these clear round vases, also from Dollar Tree. I found this little black and white check pumpkin at Dollar Tree, but you could use just some black and white check fabric and cover another pumpkin. The florals I'll be using are these black-eyed Susans that I had on hand from Dollar Tree. You can use sunflowers or any other yellow florals that you'd like. And I'm going to be using some of these blue sweater material pumpkins, as well as these little miniature black and white checked pumpkins, these paper sunflowers, and some black and white checked ribbon, all from Dollar Tree. The paints I will be using are Rust-Oleum's chalk paint in the color linen white and Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. To make a base for my centerpiece, I am going to take my 2 wood trays and I'm going to glue one on top of the other with the top sides together. I like these little trays for this because it actually gives support in the middle, not just around the edges. So I'm going to make sure I don't have any hot glue sticking out around the edges. Then I am going to take my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white and I'm going to paint this base. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to take my ink colored chalk paint and I'm going to dry brush over this base. If you are new to crafting, dry brushing just means you put a little bit of paint on a dry brush and then you wipe off the excess on a paper towel, then lightly brush over your project, and this will leave some streaks and lines in some of the raised areas and just across your project to give it that distressed look. Now I'm going to glue my ribbon around my base, just right where I glued those 2 trays together, and that will hide that seam and just dress this up a little bit. So my inspiration for this project was this fabric that I found in the Crafter's Square aisles at Dollar Tree, and I just love the color combinations and the cute trucks, but the fabric is really busy, so I am just using this as inspiration for this centerpiece. Before I start gluing things down, I am just going to take all of my elements and gather them together, start laying them out and arranging them and moving them around until I am satisfied with how they look, and then I will start gluing things down. And one thing to remember when you are creating a centerpiece is to try and make sure that it looks good from all sides, because if it's sitting in the center of a table, then it's going to be seen from all sides. So that's just a little tip to keep in mind. Now that I have my pumpkins and my big flowers glued on, I'm going to add these little sunflowers in, and I am leaving them on the wires so I can kind of make them stick up in the arrangement. I'm going to place this clear vase on the top of that pillar candle holder, and I'm just adding a pumpkin and some flowers to this, but you could put a candle in it. You could also use it kind of like a little candy dish. I would just recommend that you glue that to the pillar candle holder so that it doesn't fall off when people are reaching in to grab candy. But this is very versatile. I love that it's a little bit different and unique for fall with the different colors, but I just think it turned out super adorable. All of my supplies for this next DIY are all from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using these 3 boxes. These I had left over from a previous project, and so if you can't find this design, you may be able to find some different boxes that would work as well. I'm also going to be using some tumbling tower blocks, an assortment of fall leaves, one of these berry garlands in the fall colors, and some of these little decorative acorns. Dollar Tree typically carries some type of candle holders for fall, and these are some I think I picked up last year that I had in my stash, so I'm going to be using these. I'm also going to be using one of these candle holders as well as some Spanish moss. Depending on what type of boxes you get, you may want to paint them. I did paint these on the front and the back using some ivory chalk paint, and then I did dry brush them a little bit with a brown just to give them a little bit of a distressed look. And then I'm going to take the 3 boxes and just glue them together so I have one long piece. Next, I'm going to take the tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to glue 3 of them into the center of the box on the end. And then I'm going to take 3 more blocks and glue on top of those blocks. This is going to make a little riser to set my candle holders on. And then I'm going to repeat this same process on the other box on the other end, but I'm not going to do it on the center box. I'm going to be placing the candle holder in the center box, and to keep it in the center, I am going to add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom just so that it doesn't slide around. Next, I'm going to add some Spanish moss around my little block risers and around that candlestick in the center. Then I'm going to add my green candle holder to that candlestick in the center, and my 2 burgundy colored candle holders will go on the risers on either side. Sometimes the ribbons and embellishments on some of the Dollar Tree items can be kind of funky. Don't be afraid to make them over. Redo the ribbons or change them out, or add your own embellishments because you can really make it look like a high-end item just by adding a little bit of your own touch. Next, I'm going to cut some leaves off of this garland that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just start placing them around the candle holders and sticking them kind of down inside the moss and just kind of making it kind of really random looking. And then after I get the leaves kind of placed where I want them, I'm going to add that berry garland. And I'm going to use this whole garland. I want to twist it around in and through the leaves and around the candle holders and just make it look just really random. I'm just kind of going for a more natural look with the leaves and this berry garland. Then I'm going to take those little decorative acorns and I'm going to just kind of sprinkle them around in the tray just to add a little extra embellishment. And then I'll take some of these little LED candles from Dollar Tree and put them inside the candle holders. These come in a 2-pack and I think these are perfect for this centerpiece. Let me know in the comments which of these centerpieces was your favorite, and also let me know if there is a certain type of fall decor that you would like to see. I'm going to be doing more fall DIYs, so put that in the comments if you have something that you would like me to do a video on. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel and it helps more people to see my videos as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.